friends, PurplyPlays here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make homemade lasagna. So I decided to try doing a cooking video on my channel, so I'm not sure if it'll last. It probably won't. I'm most likely not going to become a cooking channel, but it's worth a try to see how I like doing it and how you guys like watching it. So we're going to try it because we're just trying a bunch of different things. So lasagna is a very easy thing to make, but there are multiple different recipes. So I'm going to show you my particular recipe, but you can change it up following other people's recipes, or you can make your own, and you can just mix it up. There's no particular way you need to make lasagna. You can just make it using any recipe. This is just the one in particular I like to use. So this is what you'll need to make the lasagna. So first, you of course need your lasagna pan, and it needs to be able to go in. It can't be a flat pan, or else you won't be able to make it and it'll just fall over inside the oven. Next, you will need these lasagna noodles in order to make it lasagna. You will need 2 large eggs, shredded mozzarella cheese to put on top, 32 ounces of cottage cheese. We got 2 16-ounce containers of Hood cottage cheese. You will also need powdered or grated Parmesan cheese. You'll need a pot full of water about halfway filled, around this size, so you can boil and cook the lasagna noodles. And lastly, you need sauce. We got the ragu 2 servings of traditional sauce, and we won't use all of this. You can get a smaller size. We don't use all of this. We just got this because we're also using sauce for other pastas that we're going to have other nights. That's not tonight. The first step is you need to take your pan and fill it about halfway with water, and then put it on your burner, on your oven, and put it on high. And let that sit until it boils or bubbles. While you're waiting, you could dance around the kitchen like a fool, like I did. You could also be productive and get ahead on school. If you're impatient like me, you don't have to wait until it's fully boiled. You can wait until it's simmering, which is the point before it's boiling. Simmering looks like this. It has a lot of smoke and it has bubbles at the bottom. Simmering basically means that it's about to boil but hasn't fully boiled yet. If you wait until it's simmering instead of boiling, it won't affect the noodles in any way. It'll just continue to start to boil with the noodles inside, which isn't going to affect your final product. Once it starts simmering, you can get your noodles and start to put them in, except you can't put them all in at once or else they won't cook correctly. So you need to do it in batches and make it so you only cook a few at a time. When putting them in, they most likely, unless you have a really big pot, won't fit fully onto the bottom. They'll lean out a little bit like this. See right there, it's not fully in. That's okay because as they boil, they'll get more spaghetti-like and they will be able to bend easier, and so it'll just fall back into the pot once it's done boiling, and the others will be able to cook as well. So let's put them all in. Make sure to do this with adult supervision because the metal is very hot since the oven is on, so if you touch the water, the metal, or even the steam too much, then you might get mildly or severely or burnt at all. And we don't want that to happen, so make sure you have adult supervision or have a parent do this part for you. Sadly, there are no shortcuts to this part. You do have to wait till they're completely cooked or your end product lasagna won't taste the same. It should take about, I would have to guess, like 10 to 20 minutes for the noodles to be completely finished, and you don't want to rush the product or else you'll have a crunchy lasagna. Although it does take a long time, it's worth it in the end, and it gives you time to do something else. So I will see you once these are fully done, and then we will see what to do next. Also, I forgot to mention, every about 3 to 5 minutes or so, you should stir the noodles. That way they don't stick to the bottom of the pan and get burnt. Almost right away, it will seem like they're done because they will have a rubbery texture like this. Although if they look like that, then it's not completely done yet still, because it still will break if you bend it at some point. So you still need to wait a little bit longer, so please don't rush this process, because even though they might look done, they're not yet. Also, here's a little life hack for y'all. If you have your spoon and you're cooking some pasta that you need to make sure you still stir, but you can't put it on the wood surfaces or anything because it was just inside boiling water and it will catch fire possibly, you can just put it on, if you have handles on your pan, you can just slide it in between the handles of the pan like that, except you have to be careful with this life hack because you have to make sure it isn't directly touching the metal or the steam, because if you have a plastic spoon like me, then it will melt if it's directly touching any of those two hot surfaces. So be careful with this life hack, but if you do decide to do it, it's very helpful. After a while of stirring and boiling, you can take it out and put it in the strainer like I'm about to show you. But don't be too scared to take it out just because you think that it might not be ready, because also it could burn if you leave it in for too long. It isn't a big deal if you take it out too soon, because if you are handling it to put it on the lasagna and you feel like it's too stiff, you can just put it back in the pot for a little bit and it will get better and you can just continue with your lasagna. After you think your noodles are done, it's time to strain it. What you need to strain it is your strainer, and this isn't mandatory, but this is what I like to do. It's optional. Get a small pan that the strainer can fit on top of. So you put this pan in the sink and move the sink that way, and then you put your strainer on top of the pan. The pan will basically catch all of the water, so when you're cooking your next batch of noodles, you can just get the already boiling water and just pour it back into that pan so you're saving water. After you do that, you carefully, because it's still boiling hot, you should ask an adult to do this part. You grab it and very carefully you move it over to the sink. The second you take it off of the burner, it will stop boiling, but the water is still boiling hot, so you still should be very careful and not touch the metal or the water. You carefully pour everything into here, and the strainer will put all the water in the pan and leave all of the noodles there nice and dry. Then you put the pan back on the burner, and it might sizzle a little bit. That's just because there's water underneath of it, but that's okay. Then you take the strainer and just shake it around a little bit to get all excess water out, like that. And then you put it right here, and you take your pan that it was on top of, and you very carefully, because this is boiling hot water, you dump a little bit out if it's too much, because you don't want it to spill all over you because it's very hot. You go and put it back in there. That's very dangerous, so please have an adult doing it for you, because as you can hear, it's sizzling a lot since it's boiling hot water going into a now cooled pan. And get more lasagna noodles and put them in. You could use the whole container at this point, depending on your size of the container, but I'm going to leave about that much just to be sure. And then you just put them in. Now we are on to the cheese mixture. This cheese mixture we are going to use when we're layering the lasagna up. So what you will need for this mixture is your 32 ounces of cottage cheese, your 2 eggs, and a cup of this Parmesan cheese. So first you get a bowl and you pour the cream cheese into the bowl. Then you take an egg and crack it and make sure that there is no shells. So if you're not good at cracking eggs, maybe you should have an adult do it, but you don't need to. Then you need 1 cup of the Parmesan cheese. I'm going to be using 2 half cups because I can't find my full cup measuring cup right now. This might make a little bit of a mess, but that's okay. You can just clean it afterwards. Mine is making a mess because mine's all clumped up. So I'm just going to shake. There we go. And then you pour that in. Here is exactly 24 seconds of me stirring. I know the internet needed that. You're welcome. It might take a while to all get mixed evenly since the texture of the products are all different from each other. But don't worry, just be patient and they'll all mix together nicely. Oh look, more stirring. Yay! I should probably cut this part out, but am I going to? No. It definitely is not going to be fully smooth since the cottage cheese has those little chunks in it. So don't worry about getting it completely smooth. Just try to get it as mixed together as possible. The end product should look something like this. Now you have almost everything that you're going to need to start layering up the lasagna, except most of the noodles still aren't finished yet. That's okay, you can just start and then finish it once the other noodles are done. So what I like to do, it's not mandatory, but to make the lasagna not stick when you're taking it out, you can just put a layer of sauce on the bottom. This works as butter when you're baking like cookies or something. You usually put butter on the pan so it doesn't stick. But butter would taste kind of gross with lasagna. So sauce works just as well, and there's already sauce inside of it, so it's perfect. You don't need a lot, just like a few drops here and there, and then just start spreading it. After you have that layer of sauce done, you can just start putting on your lasagna noodles. And remember, if you feel like they're too firm, you can just put them back into the pot and let them cook a little bit longer. And I think I'm going to have to do that for a few of these because they aren't fully cooked. This is what they should look like if they're fully cooked. They'll be a little bit sticky, but that's okay, and it like can wiggle and it won't snap. Now I'm just going to put this one right here so we can get as much as possible, and put another layer of sauce and then cheese on. For this, you're going to need more sauce than just putting it on the bottom because this is what you'll actually taste. So I like to put it in a line on every strip like that. Like that. And then you can just spread it out on the strips. You want to make sure to get every part because you need to have sauce all over the lasagna or else it's not really lasagna. So it would just be like cheesy noodles. So after you have the sauce, you get your cheese mixture and just pile it on. You're going to need kind of a lot since it's not as spreadable as the sauce is. So it's okay if you use a lot because lasagna is pretty cheesy anyway, so the sauce is most likely going to spread and get all over the cheese, but that's okay because in the end it's just one thing anyway, so it's not really going to matter. You want a big layer of cheese. You don't want it like all over the place because cheese is what makes the lasagna lasagna and not just pasta. Your cat might try to eat it too. But don't let her because this has raw eggs in it, and raw eggs isn't good for you. You can layer this up as many times as you want. I would suggest around 4 or 5 to get it perfect. I'm going to do 4 layers of the noodles, and then after the 4th layer you put the sauce, the mixture, and then mozzarella cheese on top. So you just keep repeating this. It's just noodles, sauce, cheese, noodles, sauce, cheese, until you're satisfied. So let's skip ahead until after we're finished with that. So as you can see, I finished the layers. I did 3 layers because I didn't have enough of the cheese mixture to do 4. But that's still okay because this is what I'm going to do. So you take your sauce and add it on like you normally would for your layers. And this one you can add a little bit more since this is like the top one. And you want it to have like, start off like a bang, like woo. You can add a little bit more, but don't add like a crazy amount because that wouldn't be very good. So then after you spread that, you can add a little bit of cream cheese mixture, cottage cheese mixture, but don't add a lot since, just make sure it's all evenly spread out. So there's a little bit, but not a lot since this is like the top layer, and Autumn's over there too, she woke up. So don't add a lot, but just add spreading it a little bit. Especially in the pieces you didn't add very much to on the other layers, which for me was the middle, so that's why I'm adding it on the middle. And then what you do is you take your mozzarella cheese. So for the mozzarella cheese, you just sprinkle it all over the top of the lasagna. It might come out in clumps like this did, but you can just sprinkle it away.
I want to help.
Can help. Autumn's gonna help here. Come here.
No.
Just pick some up. And don't let Milkshake eat it. And just sprinkle it on top. Good. What?
I want French fries.
French fries? Yeah. That's what you do for the cheese. And this is what the finished but uncooked product looks like. There's about 3 to 4 layers in there. And let's go to the oven. Now you get some aluminum foil and you just cover the pan with it. So it looks like this. You need to make sure all sides are thoroughly folded over, or else it won't cook evenly. Next, you preheat the oven to 350, and then you set the bake time or timer. My oven has a timer programmed into it, but if it doesn't, you can get an actual timer or use your phone's timer, or even some computers use timers. Have timers, I meant. So just use any timer. I'm going to use my oven's timer because it's most on point from when the oven got heated. So you set that for 30 minutes, and then put the lasagna inside the oven. And then you let it cook for those 30 minutes, and then after you take it out and take the tin foil off and let it cook for 10 more minutes. So we'll see you then. Hey guys, so I'm back, and I forgot to film me taking the foil off, but I did. And after you take the foil off, you let it cook for 10 more minutes, and then after the 10 minutes you have to take it out and let it cool for 10 more minutes to make sure you won't get burnt or whatever. So yeah, this is what it looks like, and I already had a piece right there, but this is what it looks like. You can see the cross section. So yeah, I tried it and it's really good. And if you guys make it, good luck, and comment in the comments below if you make it. And yeah, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye!